Okay, let's just dive right in. The job interview, as we knew it, it's pretty much gone. It's not just a chat anymore. It's a high-stakes performance where your prep is literally everything. So, in the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly how to master the modern interview with a playbook built for right now and for 2026.
So, let me ask you a question, straight up. Is your interview strategy feeling a little old school? Because if you're still leaning on the same advice from 5 or 10 years ago, you might be bringing a knife to a laser fight. The game has totally changed, and the tools have too.
I mean, the whole approach is flipped. We're moving away from memorizing answers and just doing a quick Google search on the company. The new way? It's all about dynamic storytelling, AI-powered practice sessions, and having real, deep business insight. It's about being strategic, not just, prepared.
Which brings us right to our first big topic, AI-powered prep. Seriously, think of this as your training montage. This is where you forge your tools, build your confidence, and get ready to walk into that room, virtual or not, and just own it. Success today really does start with the right toolkit. You've got AI platforms like SmartPrep for mock interviews that are personalized to your resume, ChatGPT for custom role-playing, and even Google's interview warm-up for instant feedback on how you sound. Look, these aren't just gadgets. They are your personal interview coaches, available 24/7.
So, how do you actually use these things? Well, it is not about cramming the night before. No way. It's about a consistent daily practice. Spend a little time each day generating questions, recording yourself, and structuring your answers. This is what builds muscle memory, not just memorization.
And the impact of this kind of practice is, well, it's staggering. Just 3 to 5 focus sessions can slash those distracting filler words, the ums and likes, by a whopping 60 to 70%. That is a huge, huge return for just a little bit of your time. Okay, so you've done all this prep. How does it actually play out in the interview? Well, once you're in the hot seat, it's all about navigating those key questions with real confidence. This is where all that practice pays off big time.
Ah, the classic opener. So, tell me about yourself. It sounds so simple, right? But this is where so many people stumble. They either ramble on forever or they barely say anything at all. So, what's the secret sauce here?
It's all about the clock. Your answer has to be a tight, powerful 60 to 90 seconds, that's it. Any shorter, and you seem like you haven't prepared. Any longer, and you risk losing their attention before you've even really started. Brevity is your best friend.
And here's the formula for that perfect 90-second pitch. It's a 3-act play. Start with a brief background, hit them with 2 or 3 of your biggest achievements that are actually relevant to the job, and then, and this is so crucial, connect it all back to why you're so excited for this specific opportunity.
Now, for almost every other behavioral question they throw at you, the STAR method is your secret weapon. It stands for situation, task, action, and result. This simple structure is the absolute key to telling a compelling story that proves your value instead of just, talking about it.
And here's what that sounds like in action. You set the situation. Our onboarding had a 40% drop-off. You state your task and the action you took. I redesigned the flow. And then you land the punchline, the result, and drop-off decreased to 15%. See? That's concrete, measurable impact. That's what gets you hired.
And remember, this applies to the questions you ask too. Never ever ask something you could have found in a 30-second Google search. Instead, ask something that shows you've really done your homework, like referencing the CEO's comments from a recent earnings call. It shows you're not just looking for a job, you're already thinking like a member of the team. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about what not to do. There are these subtle little traps that can completely derail even the most qualified candidates. Sidestepping these mistakes is just as critical as acing the questions. First up, the absolute #1 interview killer, rambling. It just screams that you're unprepared, and honestly, it's disrespectful of the interviewer's time. Remember that 60 to 90-second rule. Make your point, deliver the impact, and then stop talking. Let them process. Next, and this is so important in our virtual world, poor camera contact. I know, your instinct is to look at the person's face on the screen, but you have to train yourself to look directly at that little camera lens when you're speaking. It feels weird, but to them, it creates real eye contact and builds that crucial connection. Oof, this is a big one. A huge strategic error is asking about salary too early. It just sends the wrong signal that money is your main driver, not the role or the mission. Your job is to make them fall in love with you first. Let them bring up compensation, or wait until you're in the final offer stage. And yep, we're coming back to this one because it is just that important.
Asking generic questions shows you're not really that interested. Your questions at the end, that's your final chance to shine and show them how you think. You have to make them count.
All right, finally, let's talk about what happens after you've logged off or walked out the door. The game is not over. Your post-interview playbook is how you lock down the win and turn a good impression into an unforgettable one.
Yes, a thank you email is 100% non-negotiable, but it has to be good. Get it out within 24 hours, keep it short and sweet, like 3 or 4 sentences max, and mention one specific, interesting thing you talked about. That shows you are actually listening, and it reinforces how excited you are.
But hey, let's be real. Sometimes they just bomb. It happens. We've all been there. The key isn't to never have a bad interview, it's to know how to bounce back mentally and turn that failure into fuel.
So here's your reset process. First, just acknowledge that it sucks. It's okay to be bummed out, but then you gotta shift gears fast. Do a quick review, what went well, what didn't. Then go for a walk, do something physical, call a friend. And then get your eyes back on the long-term goal. This is how you turn a loss into a lesson.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. Your next big opportunity is right around the corner. Based on everything we just covered, what is the very first most effective step you're going to take to get ready? Because your answer to that question, that's what will define your success.